Can you respond in the chat? Can you see my screen? Okay, okay. Okay, we will start. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I welcome all of you for Cisco Umbrella, the Open DNS Free webinar. Let me introduce myself. I am Mahathir Mohammed Ismail, CCIE Security. I have 14 years of experience in IT security and focused on network security, data center, information security products. Worked in Fortune MNC companies like IBM, Xerox, Atos, HCL, and focused on infrastructure projects in US, Europe, Asia, and India local market. I thank IT Expert Training to giving me this wonderful chance to give a free Cisco Umbrella Open DNS webinar for all the students. Okay, let's start the agenda for today's webinar. So today we will going through the DNS, the basic DNS, what is the DNS and DNS security solution, Open DNS, the fundamental and the Cisco Umbrella and the key feature and the deployment models of Open DNS and DDoS attacks. And I will show some lab demo, then the question and answer. Before going to start the agenda, let me ask the question, all of you. How secure we are now in internet, especially in DNS? So it's very strange, right? So everyone are using DNS request for internet, and we have to ask ourselves, is this protected? Let's talk about the today's session, how we can protect DNS request. So using the Cisco Umbrella. Cisco Umbrella is enforcement, and we can say like a network security services and protect any device anywhere. So it's also the intelligent proxy and the intercept and the proxies request for malicious files. It also has the threat intelligence features on domain and IP across the internet. Okay, so that's about the today's session. Now we are going to the agenda about the DNS. So this is how the DNS, the domain name system, is working in the internet. It's a very crucial component, important component, and most of the internet, the user never know they are using the DNS. It's a transparency, right? So the same way the DNS makes the internet user friendly and viable. So when this is a client, when the client is initiating the traffic, so it's coming to the internal or ISP DNS server, then it's going to the root DNS, and the flow is similar like this. And then it's going to the top level DNS. Then finally, it's going to the authoritative name servers to get the reservation for the particular website. Okay. Without the DNS present, the internet, it would not be the ever present. Okay. So now coming to the DNS layer security. Now, why do customers want to add the security at the DNS layer? Because you now understand the ability of DNS, right, in last slide. to cover any device and location, but many security products don't cover any port or protocol used by threats. By using the DNS, we can cover these gaps. So according to the research, where you can see here, done by LANScope, 50% of command and control callbacks did not use web ports. That means the normal web ports 80 and 443, which means that most web security products won't have any visibility or the ability to block the command and control connection that are trying to communicate with the attacker for more intrusion. That's how it's happened. So you can see 91% of C2 can be blocked at the DNS layer. So if you give more security on the DNS layer. Okay. Now, so advantage of a DNS-based solution. So the elegance of DNS is that everything uses it already today. So you can simply to deploy fast and scalable any operating system. It does not matter who owns the device, how you have set up your network, or what OS or apps are running. They all work with the DNS the same. So that's how the OpenDNS is coming to that. So what is OpenDNS? The name OpenDNS refers to the DNS concept of being open when the queries from any source are accepted. So OpenDNS was founded in 2006 with the mission of provide a safer, faster, and a better internet browsing experience for all the users. Initially, OpenDNS provided a recursive DNS service. We will see what is the recursive services in later slide for the user at home. And in 2009, introduced the service for the enterprises market. Okay. In 2012, OpenDNS launched an enterprise security product called Umbrella. That's what we are going to see today. So it's a rapid success and customer adoption lead to OpenDNS being acquired by Cisco in 2015. So the journey started 2006, and 2015 Cisco acquired OpenDNS, and they named as the Cisco Umbrella. That's all. So here you can see the main service is to service provided by OpenDNS increase the speed of navigation websites and prevent unintended access to phishing and the malware site, as well as to any web content that you have configured to be restricted. So it's something like a proxy intelligence. So why OpenDNS? Okay, at OpenDNS, they proud of their uptime. So you can see here the global network in OpenDNS. They can see 5 billion DNS requests per day, 55 megabytes the home user using that, and 100% uptime. That means from the launch 2006, and work hard to maintain the status as the best in the industries. Each day, they process over 5 billion DNS queries, what we have seen here. So they're using any port and protocol and app, and they have the research team and automated classification, okay, 3D visualization engine, and also they are using the technology, the best industrial technology that helps them to maintain the great availability, which we call as a any cost. They're using the any cost technology for the great availability. So here you can see 80M plus malicious request block per day. That means once you move all your DNS requests to the OpenDNS, that means Cisco Umbrella in the cloud. So they integrate with multiple researchers, and all the things is filtered in the cloud. So when your traffic is going there, it will get filtered and it will clean, then it will go to the destination. So here you can see the location. So the high availability of the Cisco umbrella. So far, they are using the Anycast as the technology, the best leading technology. The same IP address, for example, they have 2 DNS IP, and they are using this one on multiple servers around the world. So right now it's running with 13 unique locations around the world, and soon they will increase 6 more European sites. So it will be added total 19 sites for the high availability. Now coming to the Cisco umbrella. So here you can see the DNS IP here. These are the 2 DNS IP which is using Anycast to connect with all the server in the cloud using the Anycast technology. So Cisco umbrella provides the first line of defense against the threat to the internet wherever the user go. Okay, by analyzing and learning from internet activity patterns, you have different kind of pattern for each and every traffic, and umbrella automatically uncovers the attacker infrastructure staged for current and emerging threats, and proactively blocks malicious requests before they reach to your customer's network or endpoint. Okay, and with the Cisco umbrella, customer can stop phishing and malware infection earlier, identify already infected device faster, and prevent data exploit. So that's an advantage. And because of umbrella is built into the foundation to the internet and delivered from the cloud, it provides complete visibility to the internet activity across all location and user. That's the third benefit. So everything in the cloud, so it gives the complete visibility to the location and user, whoever is going to the internet. So plus, it's one of the simplest security product to deploy and manage. So this is how the umbrella, Cisco umbrella. Now let's look where you can fit the umbrella within your environment. Think about where you enforce security today. So you have different kind of your internal design. Okay, network endpoint, network and endpoint. So these are the environment, your environment. So where you can fit the security. So the questions to everyone: what do you use to protect your network and your endpoints? So this is how you can say, like you have HQ, branch office, and roaming. You have antivirus in the system level, and you have all the security devices like a sandbox, proxy, network, next generation firewall to protect your HQ. If you go to the branch office, again you have the antivirus and the endpoint security in your end user devices. Then you have the router or the security device which has the UTM appliance, UTM features. Then it goes to the internet. If the user come out from your premises, so it's only the antivirus. Like say the roaming user, okay, they are not part of your internal networks. Now they are coming out from the network. So all the roaming user also has the antivirus as the endpoint to secure, right? So there are many ways you can do the security. Okay, but how the umbrella using the DNS you will define? You can do the first level, first line product. So umbrella can be the first layer of defense against threat by preventing the devices from connecting to the malicious or likely malicious site in the first place. So that's the main thing. When any malicious site the user is trying, automatically the file will get injected and it will get exploited to the end user. So which significantly reduce the chance of malware getting to your network or endpoints, correct? So umbrella use DNS as one of the main mechanisms to get traffic to your cloud platform, and then use it to enforce security too. That means it forces the security policies to the endpoints. So DNS is a foundational component of how the internet works right now, and it's used by every device in the network. If you go to the firewall, if you go to the proxy, if you go to the endpoint, if you go to the router, everything is needed DNS, correct? So way before the malware file is downloaded or before an IP connection over any port or any protocol is even established, there is a DNS request. Without this, there is no way to connect, right? Now let's look at the key feature for umbrella. So now you can understand where you can fit the umbrella. So umbrella will come the first line of defense here. Okay, now we are going to see the key feature. So umbrella provides the enforcement without any delay. That's the one. And umbrella use the DNS to enforce security, but how does this work? Let's see. So when umbrella receive the DNS request, let us say when your environment, the network devices sending the DNS request to the umbrella cloud, okay, it's first identify which customer the request came from and which policy to apply. So the next umbrella determine if the request is safe or whitelist, okay, the request, or malicious or blacklisted or risky. Okay, so this kind of analyze it will do. And if, for the example, if the request is safe, we route the connection as assured. That means the umbrella will route the connection without blocking. If the request is a malicious request, then we route the connection to the block page. That means you can see the umbrella block page. Okay, this site is malicious site, so you cannot access. The third one, for the risky request, we route the umbrella will route the connection to the umbrella cloud-based proxy for deeper inspection. There is a sandbox. So if it is not available in the umbrella database, then it will send to the sandbox where it will get fine-tune and get the input and do the research analyze for the deeper inspection. Okay, so that's how it works. It's similar like your proxy inspection for all your proxy. Okay, so now coming to the how the OpenDNS and Cisco, we call as the Cisco umbrella. Okay, again we need to understand the DNS is used on every network and endpoints that exist in an organization, correct? Even IoT devices. So each and every IoT devices rely on DNS. It does not require deploying a new appliance in the network, right? So it does not require changing WCCP. That means the pack file which is sent by the server to all the endpoints for the DNS request. Or you can manage the pack file on endpoint. You want to redirect the web traffic, and we don't care if the web traffic is encrypted. So it does not require anything. It takes only 30 minutes, okay, minimum 30 minutes to cover a dozen of location and 1,000 of devices to integrate. It is the fastest, easiest way to stop the vast majority of threats trying to infiltrate your system on your data. Okay, so here you can see wherever, see, as a Cisco product, you have HQ, you have endpoint security, you have WSA, the email security, the firepower, which is AMP, and the next generation firewall. Okay, then if you go to the branch office, you have the endpoint security and ASA with the next generation firewall. If you go to the branch office where you have the Meraki firewall, inside you have the endpoint security. And if you go to the roaming user, that's a laptop which out of your network, then you have the AnyConnect. So all this one is again using the DNS layer. Okay, so this DNS request is coming to the cloud, the umbrella cloud, where you have the malware and phishing and the command and control can monitor. So the benefits is very simple. So it blocks the block malware before it hits the enterprises, and contains malware CC and data exfil. No added latency, so there is no latency. So provision globally in under 30 minutes. That's the maximum what they're saying. Because DNS presides every IP communication, right? So we cut the number of security alerts generated by the rest of the customer security stack in half or more process. Okay. So now the next one, what we are going to see, the deployment. So now we have seen so far what is the DNS, what is the open DNS, what is a Cisco umbrella, and what kind of key feature it's given. And now we are coming to the deployment, where you can understand in much more clear for this product. So normally, when you go to any environment, okay, the first deployment is the network protection, correct? Where you have the any devices, okay, doesn't have, if you don't have the DNS server, internal DNS server. So what you rely, so you always put the Google as a DNS server for your endpoint, right? So this device is coming to your gateway, then it will go. But what in the first level of deployment, the endpoint, the DNS server, instead of Google, you mentioned to the Cisco umbrella DNS servers. So what we have seen earlier, 222.22 and 212.212. These are the two DNS servers which is there in the cloud. So this two DNS server is the Anycast, and it's interconnect with the cloud. So you have 13 locations in the cloud. All the places you have the same IP address with the Anycast technology. So there is the high availability is 99.9% so far when they started on 2006. And this is how. So how you can integrate your network devices, the gateway, the public IP, you have to add in the cloud. So whenever the request is coming from the public IP from your gateway, that will consider as your network device. So whatever request is coming, then it will get monitor and filter and do all the analyze in the cloud. Okay, this is network based. The second one, you have internal DNS server. Let us say you have internal DNS server in your environment. So what you can do, your DHCP and DNS server, put the DNS server for your internal devices as umbrella, not to your internal DNS server. Okay, so you always push the DHCP scope with the DNS server to the any devices to the umbrella DNS IP, instead of using the local DNS server or the public DNS server like a Google and other DNS server IP. This is simple for location that manage internal domains. So the third one, let us say you have a DNS server which contains the local DNS resolution, like you have internal DNS department and domain. So what you can do, you have the umbrella VA, virtual appliance. Okay, for all your internal devices, the DNS request is going to the umbrella. Umbrella is the DNS server. From the umbrella, for any internal domains, it won't go to the cloud. It will go to your local DNS servers. Here you can see. So whenever any device is try to access your internal domain, it will coming to the umbrella VA virtual appliance. Then it will forward to the local DNS servers. From the local DNS server, the domain name is reachable, and it will get resolved with the local IP. If apart from the local DNS server, anything is going to internet, that will go directly to the cloud. Okay, so how this will give more visibility and granular control in the cloud. So everything is based on the deployment model. So you have only, let us say, I'm at home. I have one static IP internet router. I'm sitting. I have 2 to 3 wireless user, and that router IP, it's a dynamic or static, whatever it may be. If it is dynamic, we have to change every time it gets reboot. If it is a static, you add that IP into your umbrella cloud. For that, you need an account, right? So you can add a number of devices. There is a license part separately. So you can add your network device, the public IP, into the cloud. So that umbrella cloud will treat as a network device. So whenever the traffic is coming from this public IP address, it will get monitored in the cloud. So you have all the visibility. So similar, like if you go to the enterprises, you have first layer security, second layer security, then you have switches, you have wireless access point, you have all the devices, right? So the endpoint, when the user is trying to access the internet, again, it's cross all the things coming to the internet gateway, which is your firewall, or which could be your internet router. But it has a public IP address. So all the request is get natted with your public IP address. So that IP address we need to add in the Cisco umbrella cloud as the network identity. So whenever the traffic is coming from this particular public IP address, it's get monitored and do all kind of analysis. So those things in later session, I have a demo. I will explain you how that works. Okay. So now the third one is a very important one, is a DDoS attack. Okay. So distributed denial of service attack. So you know the DINE. It's the Internet Performance Management and Web Application Security company, offering the products to monitor, control, and optimize online infrastructure, and also domain registration services and email products. It's the best company. Okay. So what happened? You know, in 2016, the DINE cyber attack took place on October 21. And involve multiple distributed denial of services attack, DDoS, targeting system operated by DNS, provided by the DINE company, okay, which caused major internet platform and the services to be unavailable to large business of users in Europe and North America. Okay, so the 100 web services which hosted in this particular company, including Twitter, Payball, and the Box, become inaccessible or very slow as TTL expire. Also, it's affected the Amazon, CNN, and HBO, now New York Times, and the speed test, what we use to do the internet test, and the Twitter and WhatsApp. So that's because things happen on 2016. So why it's happened? because of this. Let's see. So recursive DNS primarily blocks C2 callbacks and malware and phishing, whereas authoritative DNS primarily blocks DDoS attack and protocol exploits. Okay. So now see what is the difference between authoritative and the recursive DNS. So the domain name, the DNS was created so that you don't have to memorize the IP address, right, for every website you want to visit. In the DNS, there are two components. One is authoritative DNS servers. Another one is a recursive DNS server. So what it will do, this is how it works. So the authoritative DNS servers house the mapping between the domain name and the IP address. This is what was attacker at DYN company in that particular time. So recursive DNS servers ask the authoritative servers for the IP address of your domain whenever an end user click on the link or type a domain or URL. This is what OpenDNS does. Okay. So if you see this slide, the OpenDNS globally network uses the technology called Smart Cache. We call it as a Smart Cache. So which will return the last known good IP address whether the authoritative server or unavailable during this DDoS attack. Once the system realized DNS was not available, the service returned the last known good address, which eliminated any end user impact for OpenDNS user. This is how it works. So where's the ABC? So it's showing the valid one, and it is not asked by the OpenDNS. So again, it's going to the TTL. So it's going to the center again. So coming back. So the last one, if the expired, that means last known cache, then there is no answer. Then you will get the actual response from the authoritative DNS. Okay. So this is how it works in the DDoS attack, which happened in 2016. So now everything is moving to the cloud. So what you can do, you can protect yourself for the DNS request. So the OpenDNS or Cisco umbrella is mainly for the HTTP and HTTPS traffic. So it's only the redirection. Okay. So whenever your traffic is going to the internet, okay, it will redirect to the cloud. So it will get monitor and filter and do all kind of policy. So the policy also, you don't need a separate appliance on-premise. So it is in the cloud. You can push the policy. So whenever the request is coming to the cloud, so it will validate the policy. Then it will allow based on the risk level. Okay. So now we can go to the demo. Okay. So I can show the demo. Then we'll come to the question and answer. So this one will come later. Okay. I think, okay, can you see the, okay. Is everyone seeing the, can view my web page like a Cisco umbrella? Can you type? Is it viewable? Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is the cloud. So I'm using the dashboard cloud demo 1. So where you can see the virtual appliance, active roaming clients, and everything. So here you can see per day how many requests is coming to your, for the DNS request is coming to the cloud. So you can see all the visibility and the granular logs. Okay, so it will give all the reports. So how many malware it's blocked, how many phishing is blocked, how many command and control is blocked. So all the security feature you can see here. So again, this is a demo. So they initiate a lot of traffic. So if you want to purchase separately, then you have to integrate. You have to coordinate with the Cisco sales team. They will give the separate dashboard for your company. So where you can integrate all your network devices, which is facing to the internet, as well as the roaming client. The roaming client is nothing but you can download the connector from here. So you can install the roaming client agent. Let me show the agent. This is the agent. So this agent you have to install in your laptop. So whenever you go outside, that will protect. How? The agent, the connector is downloaded from your account from the dashboard. So it has a script. So whenever this laptop is out of your network, is going to the outside using the public network, the agent is up and it will try to communicate the Cisco umbrella with your company account, because the agent is downloaded from the dashboard which has the company account. So how those are the background scripting what they did for the agent. Okay. So if I install, let us say in my company I have the agent. So if I give this one to my the friend, okay, they want to block everything. The new laptop, which is not part of my corporate, again I can manage from the cloud. So all the traffic will coming to my dashboard. That means my corporate umbrella dashboard. So here you can see, and I can show the policy where you can feel, yes. So this is something like the proxy. So I can see some of the proxy here. See, so this is basically the proxy setting. Yes, if I do the proxy setting, so this is the categories what they have. So they have normally if you work if you have experience in proxy, so they have a high level, low, or moderate risk level. Based on that, customized policy will place. So here also you have the low. So this is the low one. Okay. So some of the thing is selected. If you want to have the moderate, see these are the moderate website is blocked. And if you want to block with high, so everything is blocked. So let us say if I use the moderate and I want to block the chat. So my company, like Facebook, I don't want to use the chat. So you can block it here. So this is how the proxy you can play in the cloud. Okay, this is intelligent proxy. The other one is a security setting. It's nothing but where you have all the option like malware. See, this is the one. So malware. So you want to enable for your web traffic, then you can enable. Then you have the command and control callbacks. This is a very important one which the attacker try to use for the ransomware attack. Okay, so they always use the command and control. Then the phishing attack and the crypto mining is another one. The dynamic DNS. So if you enable all these features, then all your requests is coming to the cloud will check all these kind of security features. So you can play with this kind of policy for the particular user or particular group or particular VLAN based on your requirement. Okay, there are a lot of things you can play, and also, yes, also you can do the destination, yes, the whitelist. So similar like your block list and whitelist. So what are the sites you want to allow? What are the sites you don't want to allow? Everything you can block after the content categories. So some of the sites you want to allow. So you want to give the exclusion. So you can do it here, and you can apply this one to the particular policy. Then some of the application you want to block, you can block. See, let us say here you can see P2P application they blocked here. So this is a example. You want to block, you can block. And this is a page which you can see. You see the default page. This is the one. So whenever you type any malicious website, so you can see the Cisco block page. So this is blocked by the umbrella. Those kind of things you can see. And in terms of reporting, yes. So I can take all the reports. So whoever is going to the who's going to the malware sites and activity search, I can do all kind of analyze. So let us say this is a user 10.18.39.19. So I'll see why this user is blocked. Okay, so which website he went. So all the information. So what time? So October 27. So all the information. Because, so why this one is blocked? Because of the malware categories. So he went to the malware website. That's the reason it's blocked. So any other sites event is allowed. So those kind of things you can see here. So you can get all the reports. So this will help to analyze your internal networks and make granular fine-tuning and give the better performance to the user for the internet access. Apart from that, you have the identity, yes. The user identity. So what is the total request is coming from the users. Let us say you have HQ, okay, HQ and 2 branch office. You have public IP address. So I will show the public IP address here. So here, this is a public IP address. See? So this is your, let us say, New York office, which has a public. Like that, you have the branch 1. You have another public IP. So branch 2. So you can add. There is some limitation, but in terms of license, yes, there is no limitation right now. Okay, it's a package. So you can add multiple sites and with using the public IP. So all your DNS request is coming to the umbrella. So where you can push the policy and play like anything. If you don't want, you can block it. And this is something like your network devices. Like you have each and every network devices also need the DNS, right? Let us say you have a Meraki firewall or Meraki devices. It should need the DNS to reach the Meraki cloud. Or if you have any other like Firepower or non-Cisco devices which they want to, like a Palo Alto or Checkpoint, any security devices for the latest security threats and the patches and updates, they need internet access. Even the ICE need the internet access. So all the devices you can, instead of giving the giving the ISP DNS IP or Google DNS, better you can give the umbrella DNS for your network devices. So once you given, all the devices will be here and you can monitor. So if anything you want to push, you can push. The same thing, the roaming. This is the roaming computers. That means it's not part of your internal network. It's out of your network. Okay. So when they go home, so what is the policy they have, and you can see the voice version, what they are using, and when they think last time, it is 20 minutes. Okay. So is there any other security policy? See, we have a security policy for the roaming user and the internal user. So based on that, you can segregate. The third one, which I would like to highlight is your Active Directory. So there is one which we discussed in the deployment model. Yes. So this is the one which we discussed, the last virtual appliance. So any your internal networks here, it's coming to your virtual appliance. Okay. The virtual appliance, the umbrella virtual appliance is a DNS for your all your internal devices, endpoints. So it's coming to your VA. Can you someone? Okay, thank you. So it's coming to your umbrella VA. So umbrella VA, we are not doing anything on the umbrella VA. So what we are doing, we just mentioned the IP address of local DNS server in this virtual appliance. That's all. So where we add the domain name, local domain name in the cloud. So this is the one. So this is my virtual appliance name. It's automatically synced. So where you can add all your internal domain like XYZ. So like abc.com. So if I add this one, okay, this will add to your internal domain. So what happens whenever any traffic comes, so this domain entry will go to the VA from the cloud. It has the connection. Then when anyone is trying to access abc.com, it won't go to the cloud. It will directly go to the local DNS server. So this is how it's designed. Okay, and you have there are multiple reports where you can you have top categories. So every day, what is the category? The most request came from the category. You can select here. So this is the one. And you have all the granular report from this dashboard. Okay. This is so how many active roaming clients I have? So like let us say I install 12 clients in my corporate. Let us say. So now they are out of the corporate, not in the corporate network. They are out of the corporate. So right now they are using internet, but still I can see their view. So you cannot escape. Okay. So everything is monitored, and we can see what they are doing right now. So all the information we can see from the dashboard. This is more related to the endpoint security too. Okay, to avoid unnecessary traffic. The traffic will get injected to the endpoint, and when they come back, again it will get spread to the LAN network. So even your antivirus, the endpoint security is compromised. Okay. So this is how it's working now. So this is all about the lab. So there are a lot of workshop is under this lab. Okay. With that, we'll come to the final one is the question and answer. So I think everyone is familiar with this one right now. Okay. So umbrella is a authoritative DNS or recursive one. So you can say it is false because it is a recursive resolver, not the authoritative DNS resolver. And this one is very easy to deploy, high scalable, and yes, the managed service provider MSP offering to the umbrella. Okay. So any question from anyone? If you have, let me know. Any question from anyone? So, okay, so there is no question. So with this, we come to the end of this session, and thanks for all of you attending this free webinar. I hope everyone understood the open DNS in current era and technology, right? So to know more on Cisco Umbrella,